as well. And then as soon as we have a quorum, we'll call the roll. But I see Senator Negrete McLeod in the front row, and she had asked to take up her items. She has a committee to chair, so we will go to SB 609 by Senator Negrete McLeod, and then on to SB 799. Welcome. Good morning, Senator. Begin when you're ready. That's you. You got the memo. Okay. So did Senator Runner. She's just understated. See, she's got a red blouse on.
Good morning.
It is on.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Well, I don't know. Is it on?
No, I don't think so. Is it on? Okay. Madam Chair and members of the committee, when an employee organization files a representation petition with the Public Employees Relations Board that shows a majority of employees in the unit seek to be represented, the employer must grant recognition unless the employer raises a dispute, such as whether the proposed bargaining unit should be granted, in which case an administrative law judge must conduct a formal investigation of hearing and issue a written determination. The losing party may then submit an appeal to the board. However, when a dispute is raised with the PERB board, it results in a delay that may be substantial, up to 2 years, especially when an appeal is filed. SB 609 seeks to prevent prejudicial delay of representation matters pending appeal to the PERB by requiring an ALJ decision to stand if the full PERB board does not act within 6 months. With me today is the sponsor of the bill who can answer any questions from the committee regarding this.
Thank you, Senator Negrete McLeod. We'll go to your witness.
Madam Chair and members, Barry Broad on behalf of the Teamsters. This is a very simple matter. These cases, when they're heard, it's simply the issue the ALJ determines, is there a majority support or is there not? The appeals, what we're finding now, are being filed in order to take advantage of the PERB's rather slow response generally to things, and this is about the democratic process involved, and so these cases are intended to move quickly. In all likelihood, the 6 months will run, the PERB will not take up the case, and the ALJ's decision will become final. If there's really an issue worthy of appeal, then they can take up the matter within 6 months and deal with it expeditiously. So we think, if anything, it's going to save money.
Thank you, Mr. Broad. Any other testimony in favor? Testimony in favor, and come on up, introduce yourself. Any testimony opposed? Is there opposed testimony? Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Mitch Seaman, California Labor Federation, in support.
All righty, thank you. Seeing no opposition testimony, correct? All right, seeing none, we'll have a comment from Finance. Welcome back.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Miriam Ingenito with the Department of Finance. PERB preliminarily has estimated that the costs to the state from this bill would be $210,000 in 2 PYs to meet the proposed timeframes.
We did not find those kinds of costs in our analysis, Ms. Ingenito, but we appreciate your comments. This will be a due pass, members, when we get there. We don't have a quorum yet, so we won't take a motion right now. But as I said, we'll be due pass when we have the membership. Thank you. We're going to go on to your next item.
Yes, I recognize that SB 799 is going to suspense, but what I'd like to say is...
Thank you, Senator Negrete McLeod. I appreciate you're not fighting it.
No, but this bill simply seeks to place a time frame on investigations of complaints, and we are here to ask about the cost considerations. So I have my witness, Mr. Dave Helmsen, with me.
Go right ahead, Mr. Helmsen.
Madam Chair, members, Dave Helmsen on behalf of the California Association of Health Facilities. We thought we set out here to fix a very small problem and get the department in a position to close these cases on a timely fashion. The way that they interpreted the bill and some language we put in at the end, I guess, threw them a curve, and they added $17 million worth of costs. I think this is a technical fix for this problem, and that was certainly not our intent. So I just wanted to assure the committee will work with staff on suspense to fix that, and that whatever costs are left here, providers will cover through their license fees. It's important to us to get these investigations finished. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate those comments, and staff hears that. Go right ahead, ma'am.
Madam Chair and members, Barbara Glazer with the California Hospital Association, simply wanted to add our support to the bill.
Thank you. And is there any additional testimony in favor? Is there opposition testimony? Finance, do you have a comment on this one?
Madam Chair, in light of the May revise, there will be several bills today that I won't have a file on, and this is the first.
All
So I
right.
apologize.
Thank you. Again, members, when we have a quorum, this item will go to suspense. The previous item,
Thank you,
however,
Madam Chair, for your consideration.
Absolutely. Thank you, Senator Negrete-McLeod. Senator Negrete-McLeod's previous item, SB 609, is going to be a due pass when we have the membership here. Any? All right. We don't yet have a quorum, and there's no authors in the front row. So with the committee's indulgence, we'll start on those bills that that presentation has been waived on. Are they noted on your file? You've got it there, okay? First is Senator Padilla's SB 3, telecommunications service. This is the public hearing on SB 3. If you're here to address SB 3, telecommunications service by Senator Padilla, if you're in favor, come up now. Any opposition? Are you addressing SB 3? All righty, come on up. If folks could get a little bit closer to the front, we're trying to move through. We have over 100 items today.
Madam Chair and members, James Jack here on behalf of CalTel and support SB 3.
All righty. Anyone else in favor of SB 3? Any opposition to SB 3? Seeing none, that item goes to suspense.
Madam Chair.
Oh, Finance,
Sorry.
please. How could I overlook you?
On the ones that I do have the file on.
That's right. Let's get it straight
The
here. Okay.
CPUC estimates that it would need 1.5 positions and $178,000 from the Public Utilities Commission utility reimbursement account.
All righty. That will go to suspense when we have our committee members here. Let's see. Senator Corbett, we'll take you next. And Senator Corbett, are you presenting on all items or just the due pass?
I'm presenting on some suspense candidates.
All righty. Why don't we go in numerical order then?
And what's your preference? I do have witnesses on the first one.
SB 44, are you presenting on that?
I am, yes.
All righty.
Because I have witnesses. And I'm sorry, Madam Chair, I'm not quite sure about the witness situation on the other suspense items.
You'll just do your best.
As we go along.
And so will we, yeah.
I'll tell you as people show up.
Okay, SB 44 on public utilities. Go right ahead, Senator Corbett. This is on the gas pipeline explosion.
Yes, and as my witnesses are coming up, I will begin. Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 44, as you mentioned, is a suspense candidate, and it does require that natural gas operators improve communication and coordination with our first responders by requiring that the California Public Utilities Commission, in consultation with the California Emergency Management Agency and the California Fire Chiefs Association, adopt stricter emergency response standards. In my district, in Fremont, San Jose, and Milpitas, there are natural gas transmission lines, and this became an issue of concern to me in understanding that these lines were designated as more dangerous lines after the San Bruno disaster and because of their proximity to the Hayward Fault. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the chance of having a one or more magnitude 6.7 or larger earthquake in California over the next 30 years is greater than 99%, and the most likely fault in Northern California to have such a quake is the Hayward Fault. Knowing this information, we should be prepared. I've met with PG&E and my fire chiefs on multiple occasions, and because of the result of those meetings, I authored SB 44 to address what I perceive are gaps in the federally required emergency response plans. I do have 3 chiefs. I have 3 chiefs here today. 2 chiefs will be speaking
Very good.
briefly.
Well, then we'll go to your witnesses. And on the fiscal issues, gentlemen, if you possibly can, welcome. We appreciate your being here.
Chief Craig Bueno from the Hayward Fire Department and Chief Sheldon Gilbert from the Alameda County Fire Department.
Madam Chair, thank you for having us here today. My name is Sheldon Gilbert, Fire Chief, Alameda County Fire, but also President of the California Fire Chiefs Association. Yep. Speaking in favor of this bill today, we have been working with the Senator and the local utilities at a local level after the San Bruno tragedy, but this is an issue of statewide importance. And having these proper maps and having the response plans and having the authority and accountability already worked out before the emergency occurs is essential. And we're confident that this bill will allow us and provide the framework for us to be able to do that. We fully support this and look forward to working with you and the Senator as we move this forward in the future.
Thank you. Any additional comments? Welcome.
Madam Chair, Craig Bueno, Fire Chief of City Hayward, for which the fault is named, and immediate past president of the Alameda County Fire Chiefs, in support of the bill.
Thank you.
Lenny Goldberg on behalf of Turn, in support of the bill.
Very good. Any other witnesses in favor of the bill? In favor of the bill? Is there any opposition to the bill? Opposition to SB 44? Finance, do you have a comment?
The CPUC has estimated it would require $217,000 from the PUC utility reimbursement account and 2 positions to open a proceeding to set emergency response standards and to enforce these standards for regulated entities. There may be additional costs to the CalEMA and to first responder community, but that amount we estimate to be minor. The Department of Finance is neutral and does note concern with the bill, and the concern being that we believe it has a chaptering issue should SB 216 continue and both bills move forward.
All righty. Thank you. Sir, are you here to testify?
Just in support AARP on behalf of 3.1 million members in California. We're in support of SB 44.
Thank you very much. All righty. One more support. Members, any comments? Senator Ahlquist.
Thank you. I understand the bill's going to suspense. It's a really good bill, and as I'm also very interested in this disaster response area, while it's on suspense, I would like to be added as a co-author should amendments be taken.
Thank you very much, Senator Ahlquist.
Thank you.
Glad to have your support.
Thank you.
So that item will go to suspense, and Senator, you're up on SB 175, public contracts for solar.
Yes, this is a suspense candidate, and I don't believe I do have witnesses on this, so I'll be glad to waive presentation.
Okay, then we're on to SB 184.
184.
Oh, excuse me. I have to ask for the public testimony. So we are now at SB 175. SB 175. Are there witnesses to speak to this bill? Okay. Senator Corbett, why don't you do a brief presentation since you're going to have witnesses? It would be better if you let us know ahead of time what you're waiving on.
Yes.
I don't know if you're, yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, so we're hearing 175 now on solar. Go right ahead, Senator.
Yes, thank you very much. Senate Bill 175 will grow green jobs by demonstrating California manufacturing technology on our state property. SB 175 will ensure that the state places solar panels on state property that are manufactured, will allow preference for placing solar panels manufactured in California on state property. I think it's obviously an appropriate concept to use California taxpayer funds on California manufactured items. I was actually shocked to learn the Department of General Services did not have any knowledge of whether solar panels on state property are being made in California. I have identified 8 companies that assemble or manufacture solar panels in California, and obviously this is a growing industry in California, and this is also an incentive that will allow other companies to bring their jobs to California as well. California-made panels create important manufacturing jobs in our state, cause investment in our local communities, and they are made with cleaner energy than foreign-made panels and demonstrate California's innovative technology. I do know that you have suggested amendments and analysis. Glad to work with you on these issues while the matter is in suspense. And I have a witness here from Solyndra.
Let's go to your witness then, Senator. Your name, please?
Leslie Barness. I'm the Director of Government Relations for Solyndra. We're a solar panel manufacturer located in Fremont, California. We manufacture and assemble our panels in Fremont, California, where we employ over 1,000 Californians, which is about 99% of our worldwide workforce. We have some folks in sales offices in the United States and Europe, but the bulk of our operations are in Fremont. And we support this legislation wholeheartedly.
Thank you. And that has a fiscal impact on the state. Thank you. Is there any other additional testimony in favor? Is there opposition? Come on up, please, if there's opposition. And sergeants, can I have an update on where the members are? Who's been called? Who's on their way? Can you come up and tell me? Thanks. Witnesses, please.
Yes,
go right ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mira Gerten here on behalf of the California Chamber of Commerce in opposition to this bill. We believe bid preferences ultimately will raise the cost of state contracts and can actually hurt California companies, and not just those that are in the same industry that are affected by the preference when they are retaliated against by other jurisdictions and other nations and also other states. For these reasons, we oppose. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair and members. My name is Dorothy Rothrock with the California Manufacturers and Technology Association, and we do not support this incentive for California-only manufacturing. We're looking for other ways to improve manufacturing in California. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Rothrock. All righty. Finance, do you have a comment?
I don't have a completed analysis on this measure. However, we would note that 36 other states have reciprocity statutes. To the extent that we institute a bid preference here, there would be retaliatory actions taken by our trading partners. And additionally, in other bid preference bills, we have noted that it'll increase costs for contracting.
All right, that item goes to suspense. Members, then the first two items by Senator Corbett are in suspense for the members that just came. Senator Runner, we're going to take the roll if you're there. All righty, good. Will you call the roll, please?
Kehoe?
Here.
Kehoe here. Walters?
Here.
Walters here. Alquist?
Here.
Alquist here. Emerson? Liu? Here. Liu here. Pavley? Price? Runner? Here. Runner here. Steinberg?
We have a quorum? Yes. Okay, we have a quorum. Senator Corbett, 182, Judiciary.
182, briefly. It is a suspense item. Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 182 would include sexual orientation and gender identity and expression as additional demographic information, which is amongst information already collected by the Governor's Office, the State Bar, and Administrative Office of the courts for the purpose of judicial appointments. I understand that this bill is a candidate for suspense. This bill is similarly in concept to Senate Bill 656 by Senator Dunn of 2006. That bill began the collection of demographic data. Both bills were heard in appropriations and were passed, and much like the intention of those bills, this bill is meant to collect demographic data and to ensure that all of us take a conscious look at the lack of diversity on the bench as a whole. Currently, the Governor, the State Bar, and the Administrative Office of the courts already collect demographic information from judicial applicants, appointees, candidates, justices, and judges. This demographic information includes race, gender, and ethnicity. This data is voluntarily self-reported by applicants now. As the committee analysis notes, costs would be reduced if judicial officers chose not to respond. So I'm glad to work with you while this bill is on suspense to get a real idea of what the costs may be. Both the Governor's Office and the Judicial Nominees Evaluation Commission note minor absorbable costs on this matter. The bill is supported by Equality California, the California National Organization of Women, the National Center of Lesbian Rights, Lambda Legal, and the California Judges Association. Today, Mario Guerrero is here from Equality California to testify in support.
Witness.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairs, members of the committee. My name is Mario Guerrero, and I'm here on behalf of Equality California. Really, directly to the cost issue, we respectfully disagree with the $100,000 cost given to SB 182. We have offered Judicial Council a model to collect the information requested by our bill using one simplified question. We are committed to working with both the committee staff and Judicial Council to ensure the passage of this bill. Thank you.
Any additional testimony in favor? In favor. Opposition testimony? Opposition testimony, seeing none. Finance, do you have a comment?
The judicial branch has reported to Finance that the additional costs associated with the measure would be minor and absorbable within existing resources.
All righty. Thank you. Nevertheless, we think there's costs, and it's going to suspense. And we are now on to SB 534.
Yes.
And members, I would like everybody to understand that we're going to work up until noon, go into session, and then resume afterwards. So we need to take up as many bills in as efficient a way as possible. Senator Corbett, 534.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Briefly, Senate Bill 534 is a suspense item. This bill assures that a victim of sexual assault shall not be billed directly or indirectly for medical and forensic exams as a result of a sexual assault crime, regardless of their decision to cooperate with law enforcement. In 2005, the federal government authorized the Violence Against Women Act, which affirms that every state is required to certify that sexual assault victims are provided forensic medical exams at no cost to the victim. In order to be eligible for the Services Training Officer Prosecutors Formula Grant Program under the Violence Against Women Act, California must be in compliance. Currently, California receives $13 million annually through the Violence Against Women Act, and we are at risk of losing these funds unless California codifies the provisions of the Violence Against Women Act. Senate Bill 534 will bring California statute into compliance with the Violence Against Women Act. This legislation is crucial for victims, local government, law enforcement, and hospitals. It is vital that California continues to address the needs of victims and have a fair and consistent practice statewide for funding these medical and forensic exams. This bill is supported by several in law enforcement, the Alameda County District Attorney's Office, California Coalition Against Sexual Assault.
Yes, we have that information, Senator Corbett. Can we go to your witnesses?
Here today to testify in support is Alameda County District Attorney Nancy O'Malley and Philip Ung with California Coalition Against Sexual Assault.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is a vitally important bill to all of us, not only for victims of sexual assault to not have to pay for their own forensic sexual assault exams and medical treatment, but also to ensure that California continues to receive the sizable funds that we get through the federal government. We have convened a working group under CalEMA's direction and that of the Office on Violence Against Women. The group is a representatives from various disciplines that are involved in the combating sexual assault. We continue to work towards funding sources for to be able to comply with the federal regulation of not billing victims for their own exams, and also to remove the requirement that law enforcement be a gatekeeper to whether a victim actually gets an exam. I do want to point out that we do believe that the financial impact is less than what is stated in the analysis, and the reason for that is because a large portion of the exam that a sexual assault victim receives at the medical facility is actually medical, not forensic, and it's law enforcement's requirement to pay for forensic exams. So there are means to pay for medical, and we're taking our scalpel out like you are doing with the budget and trying to identify what exactly is the forensic component and what's the medical component so that we can ensure that victims are not burdened with having to pay for this, or alternatively denied their opportunity to have a medical treatment and a forensic exam at the same time.
It's the wide range of the costs on the forensics that is a little bit, maybe we can work on that during the suspense.
Absolutely.
Next, please.
Philip Ong on behalf of the California Coalition Against Sexual Assault. We're the sponsors of Denim Day and Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and we appreciate all the support from all the members in the legislature. And we hope to have your support for this bill that is important to victims and victim advocates and rape crisis centers in all of your districts. So thank you.
All righty. Thank you. Next, please.
Nicole Ortelman on behalf of the Alameda County Board of Supervisors in strong support.
Any other testimony in favor? Come on up.
Christine Ward with Crime Victim Action Alliance, also in support of this bill.
Thank you.
Rebecca Gonzalez, National Association of Social Workers, California Chapter, in support.
Thank you.
Beth McGovern with the California Commission on the Status of Women, in support.
Thank you.
Vic Guzman, Vice President, California Alliance for Retired Americans, and we are in support.
Thank you. All righty. Still some more. Welcome.
Nancy Tilcock, also a CARA, but League of Women Voters at Placer County, in support.
Thank you very much. Any other testimony in favor? Is there opposition testimony? Any opposition? Finance, do you have a comment?
Our analysis notes that existing practice throughout local California jurisdictions has been to provide these forensic exams upon request, but the requirement has not yet been codified. The Department of Finance is not aware of any instance where a requested exam has been denied, and the Department of Finance is neutral on this measure.
All righty. This item is going to suspense as well, and so we'll go on to SB 622 by Senator Corbett, registration of sex offenders.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
This is a due pass, members.
Yes. Yes, it is. Senate Bill 622 clarifies that an out-of-state sex offender is required by state law to register with the California Department of Justice when they move to California. There is a need for technical clarification of the law in order to allow the Department of Justice to consider adjudicated or stipulated hearsay facts of out-of-state sex offenders. Senate Bill 622 allows the Department of Justice to resume its practice of reviewing those out-of-state convictions in order to determine whether they are required to register in California. The bill is supported by California Attorney General Kamala Harris and Porak and others. Janet Neely with the Attorney General's office is here to speak in support, and we have a few others as well.
Thank you. We'll go to your witnesses. Welcome.
Thank you. Deputy Attorney General Jan Neely in support of this bill. We asked for this bill because there are some very serious sex offenders who are slipping through the registration net due to a misguided opinion last year. We feel that cost-wise, there's no change at all to DOJ's cost for doing these assessments. We have to assess every single out-of-state sex offender no matter what. So the only cost associated with this bill would be potential costs down the road if an additional offender was required to register and then later violated. But there are cost savings that are just as likely, because if that person is registered and then there are new offenses committed, and his registration means the police can more quickly identify the perpetrator and prevent future offenses by that person, there's a cost savings not only in money but in victim costs by passing this bill.
Philip Ong on behalf of the Coalition Against Sexual Assault and a member of the Sex Offender Management Board in strong support.
Please.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Corey Salzillo on behalf of the California District Attorneys Association in support of the bill.
Thank you. Testimony in favor. Welcome. Come on up. In favor.
Curtis Hill of the California State Sheriff's Association in support.
Thank you. Any additional testimony in favor? Is there opposition testimony? Any opposition? Seeing none. Finance, do you have a comment on this one?
Both CDCR and the Department of Justice have indicated that this measure would have no fiscal impact on their programs, and the Department of Finance is neutral on this measure.
Sarah Kehoe?
Yes.
With my work in this area, I'd love to be a principal co-author.
Thank you very much, Senator Alquist. Glad to do that.
And is that a motion, Senator Alquist?
It is a motion.
This is a do pass, unless there's questions, members. Then do pass by Senator Alquist. The Secretary will call the roll.
Kehoe?
Aye.
Kehoe, aye. Walters?
Aye.
Walters, aye. Alquist?
Aye.
Alquist, aye. Emerson? Liu?
Aye.
Liu, aye. Pavley?
Aye.
Pavley, aye. Price? Runner?
Aye.
Runner, aye. Steinberg?
And the ayes are 6-0, but I'm keeping the roll open because members are actively engaged in other committees.
Thank you very much, members.
And then one more, Senator Corbett, SB 681 on public contracts.
Is it 861? SB
I beg your pardon, 861. Beg your pardon.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. First, let me start by accepting the technical amendment suggested by the committee. And we're also adding Senator Joel Anderson as a co-author of this measure. This bill received bipartisan and, I believe, unanimous support in the last committee. And I do know that your staff had some questions about whether this is a suspense item or not. This bill has been significantly narrowed. Senate Bill 861 is a very narrow measure in that it only addresses companies that have been found to be in violation of reporting requirements by final judgment, and those companies would be those that are prohibited from contracting with the state of California. This is a bill where we can ensure that we are doing business in California with companies that are in compliance with federal law. The measure was drafted so the state of California could also avoid costs, as the determination by the Department of General Services will be very clear on this matter. Only companies found, as I mentioned, by the court to be in violation through final judgment would be prohibited from contracting. This bill works off a framework which is part of the federal Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act, signed in July 2010 and supported by both sides of the aisle in Congress as well. Under the Act, publicly traded companies must fulfill certain reporting requirements regarding their use of minerals extracted from the Democratic Republic of Congo. I know that we only have a short time to present this, so I just want to let the members know. Some of you saw this bill in earlier committees. The main emphasis of this bill is to make sure that we're not spending taxpayers' money on to purchase products from companies that are using blood minerals extracted from the Congo in a war-torn nation, and terrible, tragic implications of that for the people of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Through this legislation, California can influence that experience as we spend $8.92 billion annually in total state contracts. So with that, Madam Chair, this bill is supported by many human rights organizations and investors who are concerned about human rights as well. With that, I'll stop and
thank you.
Have witnesses.
Witnesses, please.
Philip Ong on behalf of the California Coalition Against Sexual Assault in strong support.
All righty. Other testimony in favor of SB 861. In favor. Welcome.
Beth McGovern with the California Commission on the Status of Women in support.
Testimony in favor. Is there opposition testimony?
Good morning. Thomas Savu with the California Chamber of Commerce in opposition. I do want to state that the Chamber is not opposed to the goals of the bill. We do have concerns with the process. We believe that the bill is premature in that it's based on federal regs that have yet to be finalized. These regs have been pushed back twice now, and the latest to possibly December of this year, and these may not even be the finalized regs. We believe it makes sense, and it's the prudent approach to wait until the federal regs are finalized. Provisions of SB 861 won't go into effect until the federal regs are finalized anyway, and we don't see a need to see this bill through before the federal regs are finalized and the full effects are known at that time. As the committee analysis notes, it's difficult to gauge the costs to the state because the federal regs aren't done. In addition to the increased costs to contracting for the state, there may be unintended consequences and costs of implementing the bill prematurely. For example, the state or DGS may have to adjust their own regulations and processes to accommodate the new federal regs once those are finalized. And adjustments to these requirements may also affect contracts with companies and possibly raising costs as well. And for these reasons, we oppose the bill and ask that it be held until next year.
Thank you. Any other testimony opposed? Seeing none. Finance, do you have a comment on this one?
The Department of General Services indicates that the bill will result in unknown but potentially significant costs to various funding sources, including the general fund.
Members, any questions on this one? Senator Corbett, because of the pending federal regulations, as the analysis points out, it is very difficult for staff to kind of estimate what the pressure costs might be for the state and our state agencies. So I'd like to work with you while it's on suspense to see if we can get an indication of what the federal regulations are going to, how they'll impact us.
Yes, Senator Kehoe, I welcome that. I believe the bill has been narrowed substantially, and there's really clear criteria for the enforcement of this measure. And just one quick comment, I don't think it's ever premature to be moving legislation that will address the issue of the loss of millions of lives, which has already occurred in the Congo. So I look forward to working with you, and I am very positive that we will come to some sort of agreement.
It's an important bill. Thank you. That item goes to suspense.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Corbett. Senator Lowenthal, I think guys.
Hopefully get those done for the session.
And then Senator Evans, and maybe we can get both of these senators taken care of before the floor session. Welcome, Senator Lowenthal. You're taking up SB 119?
SB 119, I am.
Yeah, all righty. Go right ahead.
I'd like to make a brief presentation. This bill, I believe, is a suspense candidate.
It is.
But I have a number of witnesses here that I'd like to at least have an opportunity.
Yes, one I saw on the plane.
Emergency youth shelters, members. Youth shelter facilities provide voluntary and temporary shelter to youth under the ages of 18 who are homeless or at risk of becoming homeless. These shelters offer access to basic services to youth who are not part of the foster care system. There are about 33 emergency youth shelters in California, primarily funded by federal funds and private funds. There are no state funds currently available for emergency youth shelter facilities. Federal funds, however, through the Runaway and Homeless Youth Act, require emergency youth shelter facilities to be in compliance with state law. However, California has no law for these facilities, which has led to inconsistencies and misunderstandings when applying for limited federal funds. SB 119 simply seeks to end these inconsistencies by creating, one, a licensing category for emergency youth shelter facilities, defining and describing emergency youth shelter facilities, directing the Department of Social Services to develop regulations by January 1, 2013. And with me are Walter Phillips, CEO of the San Diego Youth Services, and Sherilyn Adams, Executive Director of Larkin Street, to testify in support. And there are
We'll go to your witnesses, Senator. Welcome, Mr. Phillips.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is it on?
Now
Great.
it is.
Again, I'm Walter Phillips, CEO of Santa Youth Services, and also the current chair of the California Coalition for Youth, and we are one of the co-sponsors of this bill. At Santa Youth Services, we do operate one of the emergency shelters here in California, a 20-bed facility that's currently unlicensed. We also operate several licensed group home facilities and foster care programs. So we're very well aware of the differences in terms of licensing and the requirements with that. We currently do not have our shelter licensed because of the lack of uniform licensing standards here in California. And what I want to speak to just very quickly is the fiscal issues. Number one, as Senator Lowenthal said, that currently the shelters in California, about 40 shelters, are funded through the Federal Youth Service Bureau through the Runaway and Homeless Youth Act. We get about $2 million of funding here in California that could be at risk if we do not get uniform licensing and they our act together on that piece. Furthermore, the shelters are very efficiently run and very cost effective, as they often deter young people and prevent them from going to more costly avenues of care. For example, in San Diego, it costs about $75,000 annually to house one of our juveniles in one of our juvenile institutions, where it costs under $30,000 annually to put a youth in one of our shelters and give them comprehensive services. And finally, we believe that the costs associated with the creations of these licensing standards are minimal and probably less than what maybe the analysis has shown, because many of us work with licensing already. There are a few of us that are not licensed that wouldn't take a lot to get us licensed, so we think the fiscal impacts are minimal.
Thank you. Next, please.
Sherilyn Adams, Executive Director, Larkin Street Youth Services. We serve runaway and homeless youth in San Francisco. We also have an underage emergency shelter that's not currently licensed, in addition to other licensed programs for youth. I think the most critical factor here is that for very young teenagers who are on the streets through no fault of their own, easy access, immediate access off the streets and into a shelter is critical to their safety, and it is not an overstatement to say that it is life-saving for them. These regulations really just serve to ensure that youth are safe when they come into the shelters, and that we're able to serve them immediately, meet their basic needs, and build the trust we need to figure out a long-term plan for them. If we don't pass this, or if this doesn't happen, we could jeopardize federal funds, which I think is which would be unfortunate, to say the least. So thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hi, my name is Heather Deering, the Executive Director of the California Coalition for Youth. We are a proud co-sponsor of this bill, along with the John Burton Foundation.
All righty, and we need those chairs, folks, for additional testimony. Thank you very much for being here. Come on up.
Rebecca Gonzalez, National Association of Social Workers, California Chapter, in support.
All righty. Any other testimony in favor? Is there opposition testimony? All righty. This item is going to suspend. Senator Lowenthal. Oh, beg your pardon. Finance, do you have a comment on this one?
The bill would result in DSS costs of $195,000, of which $119,000 would be the general fund in 2011-12, and $330,000, of which $201,000 is general fund in 12-13, to support 3.5 limited-term staff to research and develop the policy and regulations, draft operational procedures for field licensing staff, train licensing staff, and update field automation systems and the central licensing database. DSS indicates that this workload cannot be absorbed.
All righty. Thank you. And Senator Lowenthal, that goes to suspense, and now we're on to SB 450 on redevelopment.
And I waive presentation on
Oh, you did? Okay, thank you. as long as we're here, is there testimony in favor of SB 450? Testimony in favor by Senator Lowenthal.
Madam Chair, members, Hugh Bauer on behalf of the California Redevelopment Association. We have a supportive amendment position. We've been working with the author, staff, and sponsors of the bill. We think the talks have been productive, and we look forward to the bill moving forward, and we're in support today.
Very good. Any additional testimony in favor? All righty, one more.
Madam Chair, members, Eduardo Martinez on behalf of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, California State Pipe Trades Council, and the Western States Council of Sheet Metal Workers in support. Thank you.
Additional testimony in favor? Any opposition testimony? All righty, that item goes to suspense. Thank you, Senator Lowenthal.
Thank you.
And Senator Evans. Senator Evans, you have 3 items. We'll start with SB 299.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Members, this is a bill that is designed to ensure that women do not lose their health insurance coverage while they are on maternity leave. The bill does require employers to maintain the coverage during that maternity leave. The Department of Finance has a neutral stance on the bill. The Department of Fair Employment and Housing indicates that any costs resulting from the bill are minor and absorbable with existing resources, and there is no formal opposition. And I would also state that the impacts on state programs should be beneficial. It should, if coverage is continued to be provided through employers, then there should be fewer women that have to seek coverage through the state. In addition, the last point I want to bring up is that maternity coverage is considered an essential benefit under federal law, and thus the state would not have to cover the cost of the bill because of the interaction with federal law. So I would request an aye vote.
Thank you. Witnesses, please.
Beth McGovern with the California Commission on the Status of Women. We are pleased to be a co-sponsor of this bill. We believe there are no significant state costs.
Next.
Randy Davis for the Labor Project for Working Families and Strong Support.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay. Then any additional testimony in favor? Can we have those seats, folks? Thank you so much. Yes, sir.
Mitch Seaman, California Labor Federation, in support.
All righty. Any other testimony in favor? Is there opposition testimony? Seeing none. Members, this is a due pass. Is there any comments or questions? Oh, Finance. Beg your pardon.
Madam Chair, the Department of Finance is neutral on this measure, but does note that there could be costs to the private sector, to employers. We don't know what those costs would be. The Department of Fair Employment and Housing indicates that any costs resulting from this bill would be minor and absorbable.
All righty. Any other comments, members? Senator Alquist moves the bill. Then we'll call the roll, please.
Kehoe?
Aye.
Kehoe, aye. Walters?
No.
Walters, no. Alquist?
Aye.
Alquist, aye. Emerson? No. Emerson, no. Liu?
Aye.
Liu, aye. Pavley? Price? Runner?
No.
Runner, no. Steinberg?
And the votes are 3-3. We'll keep the roll open. There are a number of members that are in other committees.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Evans. And now you're going to take up Dungeness crab.
Yes, ma'am.
SB 369. Did you bring any samples?
I wish I had.
Because it's getting to be that hour. We'd love to have a little.
Right.
Who wouldn't like a nice crab louie right now? Okay.
Distribute a few crab legs through the committee. This bill extends until 2016 existing laws that would otherwise sunset regulating commercial Dungeness crab permits. I want to continue to address some of the persistent problems that are plaguing the industry, including the limit on the number of crab pots. The purpose of the bill is to make sure that our California crab fishing industry remains sustainable. And the industry is also committed to ensuring that the fixes contained within the bill are self-funding. So that's an issue that we are continuing to work on with the Department of Fish and Game. And to address a previous concern that was raised by the committee, there will be no reference to a continuous appropriation in an amendment that I will be taking in the future. I'd ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Evans. We'll go to your witnesses. Do you favor Dungeness crab?
My staff favors
Your staff,
it, yes.
okay. Anybody else in favor? Any opposition? Opposition to SB 369. Finance?
The bill would extend the sunset date of the provisions, resulting in approximately $167,300 in annual permit revenues.
Members, this is a due pass. Senator Alquist moves the bill. Are there any questions or comments? We'll call the roll then.
Kehoe?
Aye.
Kehoe, aye. Walters?
No.
Walters, no. Alquist? Alquist, aye. Emerson? Emerson, no. Liu? Liu, aye. Pavley? Price? Runner? Runner, no. Steinberg?
That is 3-3, Senator. We're holding it for the absent members.
Thank you.
And members, as long as we're taking a vote, let's go to SB 609. I'll be right back with you, Senator Evans. This was Senator Negrete McLeod. She was here right at 11. This is a due pass. Senator Alquist moves the bill. Unless there's discussion, I'll call the roll. Seeing none, will you please call the roll?
Kehoe?
Aye.
Kehoe, aye. Walters?
No.
Walters, no. Alquist?
Aye.
Alquist, aye. Emerson? Emerson, no. Liu? Liu, aye. Pavley? Price? Runner?
No.
Runner, no. Steinberg?
And that is also 3-3. We're keeping them open. We're going to keep everything open because there's so many absent members. I'd ask staff to keep all the items in file so we're not jumping around because we're going to go down the whole list at the end of the hearing. All right? Senator Evans, your final one. This is a suspense candidate.
Right.
584 on oil spill prevention.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I recognize this bill as a candidate for suspense, but I did want to point out a couple of things about the bill that I think make it extremely important. The Oiled Wildlife Care Network is the network that we depend upon as a state to respond to oil spills, to take care of wildlife that get caught up in the oil. And unfortunately, it faces a situation where potentially it doesn't have the funding necessary to even literally keep the lights on. The bill would allow but not require the Office of Spill Prevention and Response to use money from the Oil Spill Prevention and Administration Fund to meet the shortfall for the funding of the network, which would keep the network going during this critical period of time. The fund is already authorized to reimburse the network for costs of training, search, and collection, but it's not authorized to meet the ongoing basic operational costs of the network. If we allow it this flexibility, then we can keep the network continuing to operate and ready and vigilant when an oil spill does occur, and that's unfortunately a fact of life here in the state of California.
Thank you, Senator Evans. Are there witnesses in favor of SB 584? In favor? Come on up, please. Could we have that chair just to make it a little bit quicker? Thanks.
Hello, Yvonne Chambers with the Planning and Conservation League in support.
Thank you very much. Anyone else in favor?
Good afternoon, Chair and members. Tony Francois for the Western States Petroleum Association. We are neutral on the bill. We do want to take a brief moment to register our concern with the committee. There is a point raised in the analysis that the Oiled Wildlife Care Network is at some loss because of a recently approved transfer of 75% of the trust fund's money to the general fund. And we think that those funds should be restored, that would be an important move for the Oiled Wildlife Care Network and for the proper use of those response funds.
All right.
Thank you.
Understood. Anything else? Is there opposition to the bill? Is there opposition to 584? Finance, do you have a comment?
Madam Chair, this bill would result in additional cost pressures to the Oil Spill Prevention and Administration Fund, which already has a multi-million-dollar structural deficit. The OSPAF only has sufficient funding to cover its expenditures in the current year through at the current level through fiscal 10-11. The revised governor's budget reduces OSPAF spending by $2.1 million in fiscal year 11-12.
All righty, thank you. Members, this is a candidate for suspense. Unless there's any comments, that item will go to suspense. Thank you, Senator Evans. We'll see you in a few minutes on the floor. Committee members, if we can stay just another couple of minutes, we can dispense with some of the waived presentations, and then we can go down to the floor. So I'd like to go back to the top of the file. Senator Liu has 2 items on which she has waived presentation. This is to the public as well. If you're here to testify on SB 43, Cal Fresh Employment and Training, by Senator Liu. SB 43 by Senator Liu. Testimony in favor? Testimony opposed? Seeing none. Finance, do you have a question, comment on that one?
No file, Madam Chair.
That goes to suspense. Next by Senator Liu is SB 123, California Runaway and Homeless Youth Program. Is there testimony in favor of SB 123? Is there opposition testimony to 123? Seeing none. Finance, do you have a comment?
According to CalEMA, this bill would require one full-time staff-level person at a cost of $162,000 from the general fund annually, plus $20,000 annually for coordinating the stakeholder meetings, and the Department of Finance is opposed to this measure.
All righty, that item goes to suspense. Next waived presentation item is SB 106 by Senator Blakesley. Beg your pardon. On special elections, is there testimony in favor? Testimony in favor of 106. Are you coming down, ma'am? Okay. Go right ahead.
Apologize, I was in the back. Juliana Vorse with the Urban Counties Caucus in support of the bill. Thank you.
All righty. Testimony in favor of 106. Any more? Is there opposition to 106? Any comments, members? Seeing none, this item goes to suspense. Next is Mr. De Leon's. Okay. Senator De Leon, item 124 on ammunition. Items 1, 2, 4. Is there testimony in favor? Is there opposition testimony? All right. I see the opposition testimony, and then we'll take a comment from Finance.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Tom Pedersen, representing the California Rifle and Pistol Association, also the National Rifle Association. We're opposed to the bill. There's a number of loss in revenue from this particular bill. This would include almost all ammunition used for hunting, primarily in single-shot pistols designed for hunting. This would result in a great loss of revenue to a lot of rural counties that currently carry ammunition as a convenience for hunters, such as in hardware stores or local gas stations or different places like that. Consequently, it would be a great loss to the rural communities of California, and for that reason and many others, we're opposed to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Madam Chair, Sam Paredes representing Gun Owners of California, and we wanted to point out essentially the same thing, that the estimate of $120 million loss in sales of ammunition statewide is probably significantly underestimated, and that the fact of the matter is that there would be organized efforts for people to go out and purchase their ammunition outside of the state of California, which was already ready to go when 962 was in place. And secondly, with all the reference to the armor-piercing ammunition and the impact and all of that, that ammunition is banned under federal law, and it doesn't matter what the state does. It's already illegal to possess, own, sale, and all of that stuff, so it's not an issue.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Next, please.
Elenia Hellman.
A little bit louder.
Elenia Hellman-Toller, Responsible Citizens of California. This creates additional issues by not well-defining metal in it, so you still are going to have the problems with being constitutionally vague in this bill, which is going to increase the ability of successful litigation against the bill if it were to pass. There's going to be added monitoring and compliance measures when it comes to enforcement of these measures, which our services cannot afford.
All righty. Any additional testimony opposed to the bill? This is SB 124. Seeing none, Finance, do you have a comment?
The bill could increase the state's prison population and generate additional general fund costs of between $25,000 and $50,000 annually per inmate.
All righty, members. If there's comments, otherwise it's going to suspense. Two more waves, and then we'll go to the floor. Senator Woke has two items. SB 171, property tax revenue having to do with the Cordelia Fire District. This is SB 171 by Senator Woke. Is there public testimony in favor? Public testimony on SB 171. Seeing none, is there opposition testimony? Finance, do you have a comment on this?
Under the provisions of Proposition 98, the state would be required to backfill the reduced ERAF contribution with general fund. Consequently, this bill would increase the state's annual Proposition 98 general fund obligation by at least $58,000 beginning in 2010-11. Discussions with the State Controller's Office have not confirmed any error in the district's current ERAF contribution, and the Department of Finance is opposed to this measure.
That was Cordelia Fire District. Members, any comments? Otherwise, it goes to suspense. Next is SB 237, also by Senator Woke, to the public. Is there anybody here to testify on 237, the global warming having to do with agriculture? Senator Woke. Is that, come on up, miss. Tell us your name.
Hello, Planning and Conservation League in support.
Alrighty. Any other testimony in favor? Is there opposition testimony? Seeing none, Finance, do you have a comment on this?
That we weren't able to calculate an estimate because the bill doesn't specify the lead entity responsible for grant administration, the amount of funding for the market-based compliance and mechanisms to be used for the grant, nor the amount of funding to be used to administer this bill.
All right. Thank you so much to Finance. That bill goes to suspense, members. Seeing no comments from you. Let's recess now and go to the floor. And, we've taken a big bite out of it, so thank you, everybody, for being so cooperative. We'll resume after session whenever we're told, of course. Recess.